Discover the goddess who transformed from an innocent flower gatherer into the fearless queen of the underworld, and learn how her story teaches us to find power in our darkest transformations. Hello, my darlings, and welcome to a video where I create a shrine to Persephone, the Greek goddess of the underworld, spring, and the profound mysteries of death and rebirth. While I craft this shrine, I want to share the rich mythology and transformative wisdom of this powerful goddess who bridges two worlds and teaches us about resilience, transformation, and finding our power in unexpected places. Let's do some magical crafting. Each month, I create a new shrine and research a new deity to learn more about them, their roles, and their sacred symbols. As I craft the shrine, I'll share with you what I learned about the deity, and when the shrine is complete, I'll be offering it in my shop so that a devotee of the goddess can own and display it on their altar or in their home. As I'm crafting this shrine to Persephone, I'm adding colors and symbols that represent her dual nature and divine essence. The deep burgundy and black gradient captures the rich darkness of the underworld, where she reigns as queen. The gold circle in the background represents the eternal cycle of death and rebirth, the sacred wheel that never stops turning. And the gold edging that finishes the shrine adds divine radiance, reflecting her royal status in both realms that she inhabits. The 6 red beads hanging from bronze chains frame the statue, and they hold deep symbolic meaning. They represent the 6 pomegranate seeds that bound her to the underworld, transforming what could be seen as a limitation into the source of her unique power. The Persephone statue will stand at the center holding a pomegranate, wheat, and skulls. The additional small skulls at the base of the shrine honor her role as Queen of the Dead and remind us that she finds beauty and wisdom even in what others might fear. Persephone's sacred symbols really tell the story of her transformative power. The pomegranate is her most iconic symbol, representing not just her binding to the underworld, but her choice to embrace her destiny and find power in what initially seemed like loss. The wheat connects her to her mother, Demeter, and the cycles of growth that require periods of dormancy. And the skulls represent her fearless acceptance of death as part of life's sacred rhythm. While flowers, especially narcissus and aphidel, symbolize her dual nature as both spring maiden and underworld queen. Persephone stands as one of the most complex and empowering figures in Greek mythology. She represents the profound transformation that comes from facing our darkest moments and finding our strength within them. As queen of the underworld, she shows us that power isn't always about light and joy. Sometimes it comes from learning to navigate shadow and finding wisdom in what others avoid. Her energy teaches us about resilience, adaptation, and the courage to embrace all aspects of ourselves. The Greeks honored Persephone with titles that reflected her dual dominion and transformative power. They called her Persephone Kore, acknowledging her as the maiden aspects before her transformation. As Persephone Basilia, she was honored as the queen who rules with wisdom and authority. Persephone Praxidike meant the exactor of justice, showing her role in ensuring cosmic balance. These names and titles reveal how the Greeks understood that her power came not from remaining unchanged, but from embracing transformation, finding strength in complexity. Persephone's worship was deeply woven into Greek spiritual life, particularly through the Eleusinian mysteries, where her story promised initiates understanding of death and rebirth. Her spring festivals celebrated her annual return from the underworld, marking not just seasonal change, but the eternal promise that darkness gives way to light. Her autumn rituals honored her descent, teaching that withdrawal and reflection are necessary parts of growth. These observances show how Persephone represented the wisdom found in life's inevitable cycles. Persephone's domain includes the courage needed to face the unknown, the wisdom found in difficult passages, and the understanding that our greatest transformations often come through our most challenging experiences. She represents the divine feminine principle that finds power not in avoiding darkness, but learning to rule within it. The myths surrounding Persephone offer such profound teachings about transformation, choice, and finding power in unexpected circumstances. Let me share 3 stories that illuminate different aspects of her divine wisdom. The great myth of Persephone's abduction and transformation reveals what begins as loss can become the source of unprecedented power. The story begins with young Gorge, the maiden, gathering narcissus flowers in a meadow with her companions. When she reached for one particularly beautiful bloom, the earth split open and Hades emerged in his dark chariot, seizing her and carrying her down into his realm. Her mother Demeter's grief was overwhelming. She searched the world with torches, refusing to let anything grow until her daughter was returned. But here's where the story becomes truly fascinating. When Zeus finally negotiated Persephone's release, Hades offered her pomegranate seeds as a parting gift. Some say she ate them unknowingly. Others say it was a conscious choice, but either way, those seeds bound her to the underworld for part of each year. What could have remained a story of victimhood transformed into one of empowerment. Persephone didn't just survive her ordeal, she became queen of the underworld, ruling with authority and wisdom. Her annual return brings spring to the world, making her the catalyst for all renewal. This myth teaches us that our greatest challenges often become the foundation of our unique gifts, and that sometimes what appears to be an ending is actually a powerful beginning. The story of Persephone's judgment of Adonis shows her wisdom as a ruler and her deep understanding of love's complexities. Adonis was born from a myrrh tree and grew to be extraordinarily beautiful, catching the attention of both Aphrodite, goddess of love, and Persephone herself when he died and came to her realm. Both goddesses claimed him, and their dispute grew so heated that Zeus was forced to intervene. Rather than make the decision himself, he wisely decreed that Persephone, as queen of the underworld, should judge how Adonis's time should be divided. Persephone could have claimed this beautiful soul entirely for her dark kingdom, but instead she showed remarkable fairness and insight. She decreed that Adonis would spend 4 months with Aphrodite in the world above, and 4 months with herself in the underworld, and 4 months wherever he chose to go. This arrangement honored both goddesses while giving Adonis his own agency. Her judgment reveals not just fairness, but a profound understanding that love cannot be possessed or forced, and her wisdom in creating balance even in matters of the heart. It shows that true power lies in creating solutions that honor everyone involved. The myth of Persephone's protection of Psyche demonstrates her compassion for others undergoing their own transformations and trials. Psyche's story intertwines with Persephone's when Aphrodite, jealous of Psyche's beauty, gave her an impossible task: to travel to the underworld and ask Persephone for a box of divine beauty ointment. This was meant to be Psyche's death sentence, as mortals weren't supposed to be able to return from the realm of the dead. But when Psyche arrived in the underworld, having learned how to navigate its dangers, Persephone received her with kindness rather than the cold indifference she could have shown. She not only granted the request, filling a box with the precious ointment, but also gave Psyche crucial advice, warning her not to open the box no matter how curious she became. Persephone understood the temptation of forbidden knowledge, having tasted the pomegranate seeds herself. Though Psyche ultimately did open the box and fell into a death-like sleep, Persephone's guidance helped her survive the journey to that point. This myth shows us that Persephone uses her hard-won wisdom to help others navigate their own dark passages, and that true queenship includes lifting others up rather than adding to their burdens. In her role as queen of the underworld, Persephone governs not just death, but the space where transformation happens. She understands that growth requires periods of darkness, that wisdom comes from facing what we fear, and that sometimes we must descend before we can truly rise. She shows us that it's natural and necessary to have seasons of outward activity and seasons of inward reflection. Her wisdom helps us honor both our need for community and connection and our need for solitude and deep inner work. A life aligned with Persephone's energy is one that embraces all of life's seasons, finds strength in complexity, and doesn't fear the transformative power of difficult experiences. She invites us to consider some important questions. Where in your life are you being called to transform? What aspects of yourself have you been avoiding that might actually hold power? How can you find strength in your most challenging experiences? Persephone teaches us that true empowerment sometimes comes not from avoiding difficulty, but from learning to navigate it with grace and wisdom. Thank you for joining me in this exploration of Persephone's profound wisdom and transformative power. Typically, here I would say that if you're interested in adding the shrine to your sacred space, you'll find it available in my shop. However, this shrine has already been purchased by a lovely patron and friend of the channel. Until next time, may Persephone's courage and wisdom guide you through all of life's passages, helping you discover the unique power that lies within your own journey of transformation.